want to play for it.
Make my hair out the way.
Oh, God, please get the hair out
Call
the way.
me Gabriella.
Gabriella.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Sharon Wise. You can find me on Facebook as Sharon Wise or The House of Sharon at msn.com.
Well, no need for an introduction. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. This is Gabrielle, and this is The Gift of Gab. And today, like she mentioned, I have Sharon Wise with me, the one and only trauma expert, art creator, mental health advocate, and to me, an inspiration for women. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I kind of just wanted to make this episode about mental health in the Black community and being a Black creative. And those are the two things that she's basically the epitome of.
I'm
Yeah.
humbled.
And I kind of wanted to tell a short story on how I met her. So I'm a part of a collective. I think she is too, the Women in Film and Video.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been a part of their newsletter for some time now. And they have events all the time, monthly, I think weekly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across their newsletter that was advertising for a short film night. And it was at the Arlington Cinema and Draft House.
Right.
And you had to buy tickets. So I'm like, you know what? Let me actually put my foot forward and purchase a ticket to make me go. And I'm glad I went because I think things happen for a reason. I don't think anything's by coincidence. And I went and I got to meet Sharon there. And it opened my eyes because when I went, she was the only person of color that I saw besides myself. And it was a room full of people.
Yeah. At least 150.
Yeah, like there was a lot of people there, and I looked around, and not only being a Black creative, but a Black woman. And I didn't see anyone of color there, which kind of saddened me because our community, I feel like, is so large and we have so much to offer. And I don't mind being the only one that looks like that there, or one of the only. I will represent always. But to get back on track, she showed her short film, her documentary. It's called A Letter to Niyyah, Trauma Under the Bridge. And I will say, I was in tears the entire time watching it. It's short, it's about 10, 11 minutes, and I cried probably 60 seconds in. And I left afterwards because I didn't think any other film could match up. Don't toot your own horn.
No, I'm over here about to cry myself. But go ahead.
It was
I won't stop you.
It was amazing, an amazing experience. I'm gonna finish talking. I just wanted to give you guys a short story, who she is, how we met, and how we got here. So, Sharon, if you just wanted to share a little bit about yourself.
There's so many different horrors that happen under these overpaths. Dear Niyyah, if you hate me, you should. You should hate me because I'm the stupidest bitch in the world for giving you and your brother away. I tried so hard to keep you both. But don't you worry about nothing, baby. God got you and Teddy. I love you so much. I tried so hard to keep y'all, but Mama couldn't. You looked so beautiful before I took you to that church in a snowsuit that I stole from Sears. I only wanted a better life other than this homeless shelter and the Peter Pan bus station for baths. I'm so ashamed. I hope someone kills me for what I've done. I hope God kills me for what I've done. Maybe I'll help him. You know I tried before. Lots of befores. I'm so sorry I left your brother in the hospital, but he's gonna be safe there. I know someone's gonna get him and he's gonna be safe.
Well, first, I'm humbled. I thank you so much. I thank Gift of Gab, the Gift of Gab, Gift of Gab, Gabby, Gabrielle, all the. But being a woman of color who had that opportunity, I couldn't miss it. At first, I thought about it because I looked at all the other films when I got this opportunity, and I saw there was no one that really looked like me.
No.
But I said, well, like you, I have to go and represent. So going there and having this chance to show it, I show it all over the world. You know, anybody who will have me, in other words, I am a slut with my film, okay? Anyone who will have me, I will come, you know, I will come. and show it, because it is an opportunity to start that conversation about mental health in the African American community, and not just mental health, but what mental health does when it's not addressed, and how generations and generations are affected by someone else's trauma.
I will say the one quote that's stuck in my head, because I've watched the film like 3 or 4 times now. I do my homework too, and the one line that really stuck out to me is
my grandmother wasn't wanted, and she had my mother. My mother was the result of a rape, then she had me. She didn't know how to love me, so I gave my kids up. 4 generations of women hurt, broken. Look at everybody that got affected. My children were in foster care because of what happened to my grandmother. And now, hopefully, the cycle is broken.
Exactly.
And
it's historical trauma,
yes.
that intergenerational trauma. When trauma isn't addressed, people used to call it sins of the father or curse or something like that, that's passed on, generational curse. And, you know, in a way it is a curse. You know what I'm saying? When you have a grandmother who was raped, and then she had your mother. She didn't even want to touch my mother because my mother was the result of something very horrific that happened to her. You know, and then my mother didn't know how to love me. Then here I am, you know, born out of a whatever relationship. I never knew my biological father. So that lets me know that the relationship wasn't something that was a nurturing, loving relationship, where I probably would have known them, you know. And then now I have children, and now my children are in foster care, and people ask me, what's wrong with you? Nothing was wrong with me. Something happened to me, and whatever happened,
what happened to you
led to those different symptoms. And that's why I say symptoms are adaptations, because the social ills that we see nowadays is really the reflection of people really trying to bind the anxiety that comes with traumatic experiences, you see. And that is why once I started to see it from my own perspective, a lived experience, someone who had gone through something, and I acted out in a certain way where I needed help, I then went to school to figure out the neuroscience side of it, like the psychological effect of it and what trauma does to the brain, so that I could try to heal myself. You know, of course that didn't work, because I'm still, you know, as loony as a farm.
We all have that. And I think it's very important to address it and not to let it continue, because it's time to let go of the excuses. I mean, why are we like this? What's going on? What's around us that's making us produce and become the same thing that our parents were and our grandparents were? So
2020 isn't just a year, it should be your vision. Like when they say you have 2020 vision, that means you have perfect sight. And I think that some of the things that happened to me really kind of increased my level of consciousness about certain things.
Yeah, and I would say, to go off that, I've always been an artist, and I've always thought it was weird, especially the community where I'm from. Not many people look like me, so I always just thought I was an outcast. And now that I'm older, it makes me sad that I spent a lot of years shaming myself for being who I was. But now I think it's amazing that I get to be who I really want to be, and I get to meet individuals who are just true to themselves. And that's what it's all about.
It is.
And to go into that, about your film, how did you go about having it exist? I mean, I know it was an idea. How did you birth it? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, how did I birth the film? The film was actually started off being a book. I have written several plays that have won awards. I Wish, Dinner at Tuesdays, Holiday at Tuesdays, this woman, Constant Tuesday, I kind of play off of her a lot. Collection of children's books called S. Dillon, about a dog who has depression, who was left on the stairs, so he has an abandonment issue, to teach young children about abandonment and what it means, neglect and stuff. Not to go into those details that adults need to go into,
but
just the simplest form, so children can begin to be introduced to the topic, because it happens to them at birth sometimes pre-verbal. So the guy Glenn Halston, who you may see as the producer and director of the film, I met Glenn while I was a judge for the Voice Award, picking films out. I used to have the privilege and the opportunity to review films or television programs, from Nurse Jackie to some of the Grey's Anatomy. Anytime they was going to be talking about something about mental health, I got to review that segment to make sure it was going to be appropriate language, and the form, you know, everything was appropriate for people who with lived experience.
That's amazing.
And that's how I
Yeah.
met Glenn Halston. He had done this wonderful film called Beauty Shop, and I wrote him. And I thanked him for doing it because it was about a woman who had mental illness but had nowhere to go during the day. So she started going, hanging out around this beauty shop. And they started letting her wash hair. Before you know it, she was inviting her other mentally ill friends, and they were all coming trying to wash hair too. And the people was like, wait a minute. So she decided, well, wait a minute, we need our own beauty shop, because if me doing hair and washing hair can tie to providing some education while I'm doing it, then you're getting a 2-for-1. And that's why it was called Beauty Shop. She had a creative approach. And I approached him. We talked for 3 years. Funding was an issue. But after, I guess, our 3rd year, you know, getting the funding, getting the things we needed, the permits and all of that, it was born, you know, and I didn't think it was going to be what it was. We had a wonderful team of folks working with us. Gabe Nathan, who was a star in the community, doing films and things for people with lived experience. Milk Boy did all the soundtracks, the voiceovers. You know, I wrote the entire film myself, but had a bunch of help of people. I did all the wardrobes, designing the backdrops and those kind of things. So it was a creative birthing process for me that gave a beautiful baby was born from it. You know, and a lot of lives have been touched. I've shown it. Since it's launched, you know, I wanted to make sure that during the editing of it, that there was closed captioning, that there was, you know, so that people who couldn't hear can read it, you know.
Everyone gets experience.
Right, and I wanted to make sure those kind of things were embedded in the messaging and in the formatting so that anyone can see it.
And mind you, this film's 10 minutes long.
It's 10 minutes long. It took 3 years to write, and it took 3 days to put it together. Step out on your crazy. Don't be afraid to step out on your ambition to use your voice in any format that you can, because the bottom line is that everybody probably not going to look at a film, but maybe you're a writer, maybe there's some other way, maybe you're a muralist, you know, like some of the murals that's around my home. There's murals, every wall in my house is painted, okay, but one wall, and that's because I show films on that wall, you know.
Still a form of art,
A form of art. I use my entire space. I do lots of workshops here, from paint and sips. Some of the things that I'm able to do because I raised my own money, which is something that is very unique, because a lot of people do not have that opportunity to raise their own money. I don't get grants. I don't have a rich uncle somewhere that sends me money once a month. Every dime that I get is from me selling a piece of art or making some jewelry or, you know, doing some type of activity where I might charge $5 to raise just enough to do that particular project. God has been good. This is my favorite. Love can be fabulous, love can be pure, love can be difficult if immature. Love can be everything, you don't have to. Ask me how long it lasts, I am not sure. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's all I got. With all this shit going on in my head, that's all I got.